Collect.
All right, all right.
Let's do this. Then, oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Awesome. What's up, everybody? To go for the Joandum that I'm going to see for your lady friend on radio. But right now we are podcasting at Culture TV. Of course, the hashtag is what happened to Spaza. And as you can see, Windows, hey, because I'm on my nose, bra.
Hey, Fontaine. Fontaine.
Well, over here, chatting to Manez, Mina nimazi nje ngumawande, or recently described, yeah, that fat one. Recently described, make spaza. I'm about to chat with Manez right now. Nezes, how you doing?
Anyway, I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad. Do you know that Amanate Wam would outshine me?
Famous for it.
I'm
Famous for
good.
it. No,
Big
man,
niggas worldwide.
dude, thank you so much for coming through and chatting with us. Funny,
Yeah.
we were shooting a reaction video, and in the comments there were some that abantu requested, but how about you bring the people about mention where we about that killed the spas. So I was like, oh, thank God Manez agreed. I was like, thank God Manez agreed to come through. So I think first and foremost, because you're not even a spaza artist, for you it's not going to be the same as to what we're just gonna I just want your
It's the
introduction
fact
to
that I released an entire album. Okay? Yeah, okay, I released an entire album. But
yes
anyway,
up. Yes, up. I'm putting a pin on that. When were you introduced to such a thing called Ispaza in the hip hop scene?
um, hey man, so high school,
Mm-hmm.
mna ndihlala Delft at the time.
Yeah.
I did my high school in Delft. Um, and so music is a thing, arts is a thing in Delft, big
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember the like Kwaito, when Abom Tasman were thriving, on the cool side,
Yeah.
on the Kwaito side, Delft had its own thing going with a couple of groups that were coming through from a Delft point of view. So I'm in high
Mm-hmm.
school. I think I'm in grade 9, grade 10. This is now
Mm-hmm.
2003, 2002, 3, when some of my classmates start getting into this music thing and they start doing
Okay.
Kwaito.
People you know
Um,
now.
Upper class in and people that I hang out with,
Yeah.
and and so now I don't have, like when they go to rehearsals, I'm like, so I start joining them at the rehearsals. Like you're unique way too. So when something pulls you in, and I don't feel like doing quite at all. In English, random and somewhere,
Yeah.
and I'm because um but I get into the music thing through classmates. I started rapping. So the Manez thing was a rap name.
Don't
And
lie.
the Manez thing was a rap name. So I started rapping in high school, grade 11, grade 12, more strongly. I had a song called See Me Now, See Me No More, which
Yes,
was the last
Tina,
performance I
you
did in
gotta
high
give it
school.
to me.
I will not do that at
Ah,
all.
come
I will not do that at all. But I rapped a bit, and then there was a couple of programs into that were done between upper so the our school isimunye masibambisane apho
on.
ubuntu went to masibambisane.
Yeah,
So as
yeah.
boys there, DSO, they're a few years behind us academically, but we're
Mm-hmm.
doing the arts thing together. So this DSO, that's coming through on the side.
Yeah.
So we started doing a couple of things on the Purpose Neck, Cape Town High Cats. It says the collaborative energies were too for because we're always involved with programs as a youth way to whether it's a life thing or like a Quaker Peace Center thing
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Soul Buddies Club. So that's
And
where it was
there
at
were
for me.
always those vibes, gig was there ciphers and poetry, we love life.
We use music as a vehicle to drive the thing. In
Mm.
Delft, it was so cool. We had a talk show at Delft called Two
Oh,
Sevens Clash,
yeah.
which was like a live talk show thing. host Chumani Machwele, lo Fizbas for Chumani Machwele,
Yeah.
or Janet Chaparai, who was a musician reggae. So performances, drama, music, we would always use them as tools to drive whatever message we're trying to push. There was also a thing called YCL, Youth, whatever it's called now. But there's a couple of these movements that were starting in the girl setup where a lot of creativity and arts was the tool we were using to drive messaging forward. So that's how I got into the whole music thing, high school rapping. But I quickly stopped as soon as I started. Because I probably did the rap thing after like 2, 3 years. Then I stopped when I got into varsity.
Yeah.
I stopped being on the mic and I started, embracing arts in a different way. And I've always been a person who will engage in the arts as a consumer, as a fan, as someone who studies it too, and understanding the culture behind it. And I've always tried to look at a perspective, of how to make it work. So the ideas thing for me was always in the behind the scenes aspect of it all. And so I got introduced to the All-in-Wise through into ezinjalo, ii-sessions zakwamlamli, senza nguThimo no-DAT, ngaqala nguThimo no-DAT maseza kwamlamli, while All-in-Wise izela kwecala. So I started attending those things, and I'm just there as a person who enjoys consuming music and consuming the local sound. That's it. Yeah.
And at the time, do you know, Uguti, when you started out, before even being intro, because I can just imagine, Uguti, when you were introduced to All-in-Wise already, so yes, but there's something called this buzz. But at the time before All-in-Wise came, because I want to get to feel, Uguti, when did you get to
connect with this Spaza identity?
The actual identity Spaza.
Yeah. I mean, it was always a contention issue between those Spaza, which people would be labeled as Spaza while abanye bengafuni label. It would be seen as one thing and the other. So by the time Sisiagu All-in-Wise, I mean, DSO are now fairly established as a group, and Zilite jungle music are starting to get into the frame of things. So a lot of Delft is a footprint in the game. It's years since the establishment as Spaza. So I don't so I don't have
you don't know,
that strong historical relation to it, but it's only in the mid 2000s. Now I'm starting to see when I go to All-in-Wise, and I'm fascinated by amachita on that I started to do the thing. La culture it was happening. So, remember, there was a session, the CPUT back in the day, Abokanyi, Ill Skills, Tabi from the streets, about eavesdrop. So now I think I was introduced to the hip hop thing. And Spaza was part of the package, but it was always the broader Cape Town hip hop thing that always fascinated me. Even now when I was rapping, I used to rap in English. It was the hip hop thing that got and the Spaza became part of it all. And so I've never truly identified the agenda I'm in the Cape Town hip hop industry is Spaza focused or Spaza centric. But I would consume all kinds. So xa kwamlamli ndibaseleka those boys Orlando, Demons Camp, those kids are not calling themselves Spaza artists,
they know
by these donors as they were coming up. I'm like, I like whatever they've got going on. They were not defined by the Spaza narrative. But I was appreciative of the entire movement altogether because the energy I'd have a dope time All-in-Wising and Lamling and all of those things were too.
It was always good vibes. I mean, it was always good vibes. So you said you had an album out. Title?
Yeah, I dropped a mixtape. But I mean, I think that's. I mean, I feel like that's a conversation that's part of the story. In reference to your conversation that you had, not that, because that's how I ended up doing stuff at the Baxter Theatre. So
also, hold on. The
yeah.
album we're talking, it's not the album Manez the rap,
Not
because
me
I thought it was
singing, no, no.
oh, I thought, oh no, then that's why I asked it now. Oh no,
But
then the whole
obviously the project that I developed and pushed culminated in an album that was released digitally.
Oh, okay. No, then, because I thought you rapped to a point of releasing.
No. I didn't record. It was something that I learned. You wonder?
Why ungazange record?
No, I think I stopped rapping early. You know what I mean?
Did you
I think
ever
in as
perform?
much as I performed, actually, I performed a couple of times. But I think for him, I think the art of rapping was never like my thing. Like I can ghostwrite and I won't go. I've written lines for people, but that's not a conversation that we have. But I'm a writer, most. I'm a writer, most. So I've written I've written raps. I've written raps for ads,
for magazines and
so even in a hip hop context, like I've put hip hop in adverts, for example, and so I've written those raps in the
okay.
So I've always enjoyed writing, but not the image of being a rapper. So that's why I stepped out and I transitioned into doing a bit of poetry and then theater and then everything else that I've got.
That explains a lot of why you always have or you always are dropping lines and stuff on your
yeah definitely never say die.
So now tell me, who are some of cats in the spaza scene for you that you feel were sort of like the influence and sort of like the hype, and it was sort of like umlilo of like actually hype spaza sasina.
Yeah, I mean, I had a great time. And I was lucky, as because when I came into the space, especially because I'm always we dated to the Gooks scene because it was hot in Gooks at the time.
Yeah.
When I got in, I was lucky that I was in fanboying on anyone, but I came in and I could approach people and have a conversation, and we could talk respectfully about the craft and also just the business behind it all. So people were always willing to listen to me. So I've had great interactions and conversations and friendships with some that have developed over the years. I used to enjoy that Baseleka. It's Master Ben Basela. That was amazing. Like and we spent a lot of time with that, and I don't know if you remember it, but we spent a lot of time, I think, between 2010 and 2013. And we'd worked on a couple of like ideas. I'd go to books. When he was looking for access to certain things, I've brought him some white people that can help him access certain things. I've given him some connections, but it's not something that's I'm going to claim, but it was connections that I could make. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm sure you can attest that I'm always willing to make connections between people that are willing to know each other and might make it work for them. So my coming into the game was that I came in the camera into some of these things, and I said, I've got a series that I was running with this other project called MoPix, which was short for mobile pictures, where we used phones to shoot content from where a channel on Mixit, where we had built the biggest digital content channel on Mixit with local content that we're creating. And we had different segments within that platform, all different, focusing on different things. And one of them was one we called Word Is, where we would take a verse, whether you're a poet or you're a rapper, we would record a verse, like a verse, a 16, and then go make a music video out of that verse. And put those things and mix it and publish them for people to consume. We did that. I did that with DAT. I did that with the DSO kids. I did that with Osia Sumbo, with the Kid Next Door. Zonke cats. So when I was this is not in the early in mixed times, when I was coming in on that hip hop media aspect of it all, and just doing it out. We drive around books. I remember that's Nepal and Flope. See, I was slash about to pass your rapis junctions, and shoot and actually record verses, music videos of verses. So that's the element that I brought in when I was doing a lot of those stuff. When I was visiting Mamlam, all in noise a lot, I was connecting with those cats and creating those content or those content pieces. Even Westbrook, when I went and I did Live Magazine, because then we could do profile. I did a thing called Profile the Artist, which was a series that we did with the Exos of Boys and a lot of them as well. So the media element is what I would come with as an angle and say, let's document some parts of what is going on and let's give a platform. Before people had access to television, people had access to radio play, I was like, I introduced the whole camera thing and using the phone as a platform to live with. Yeah.
And you know, getting an explanation from DAT of what Ispaza is now, and you saying Lendi Tetai of what you brought, because he literally said Ispaza is literally a shop with different items in it. And I was just having this conversation saying, Uguti, that's what Ispaza used to be, hence the Ispaza, the movement, because everyone had something as an eye to make the movement better.
People would contribute their own thing.
Contributing,
like would respect people like about Rajesh, because you know he would bring the hype and the energy from, you know, a super fan point of view. You know, there would always be energy from people like Abo Olutando Mateo, the late Meso. We're not enough said record. They would come. They would always, people always brought their thing to it, and I think that's where, for me, I became extremely active. And this is now 2013, I think, where the big thing, social media is booming into the game, and Facebook is everyone's world, and that famous headwarmers group where everyone got to know each other, where a lot of these conversations were to happen, and people there could have an opinion on whether you were a rapper, a producer, a label owner, or a fan.
A artist manager.
Everyone had something to say, and it was beautiful because we could feel like we are part of the same thing from all different lenses and spaces. And I think hip hop is a culture. Ispaza is a culture in itself, and so people could participate from different aspects. Yeah, and no one, I guess, from a fan point of view or from a media point of view, we can't claim, you know, to have, you know, founded or influenced, but we did our thing. We played our part.
Yeah, you can't
yeah,
and Kulandi Tatayo, even I remember with Monica no Elo. Monica and Elo at some point were big fans, and then went and had e-magazine. Yeah, but I think you had something to do with that as well. I helped
them set that up.
Yeah,
because again, in Lawe City. So can I explain?
Please.
There's the head warmers group, right? Everyone is debating about everything all the time, and there's this energy, and it's not me, but I'm part of that energy. I start associating with it. Yoba, we can have a more positive and impactful conversation here, hip hop, outside of the debates that are happening on that head warmers hip hop group, head warmers show group. We go set up another group and we call it Unity Crew. Now, a lot of people start moving to the Unity Crew thing, because there we could have productive conversations and ideas. And that's where the creative database was born. Because now, and again, that's that roughly in Napayano. So Abo Monica, Nabo Elita, by part of the Unity Crew now. And I'm saying to them, people need to be empowered, right? It's not enough that you love the hip hop as a fan. I think you need to establish a role that you can play. What is it that you can do, Nina, to earn a greater voice? Because Galactica voice matters.
Yes.
Saying, get into this thing where you can't rap, you won't rap, not everyone can.
Sing.
You're not gonna manage, you can't do all of those things, but you are passionate about hip hop. Why
Yeah.
aren't we trying to set you up with something that you can do, that you can own? And I encourage them to. And I remember Ndababizela, where I used to work at this fancy offices, I say 140 people, and sahlala phaya for a brainstorm in the afternoon. And I said, let's set up a blog and call it Sisters in Rap. Yeah, and it's women that are documenting hip
Yes.
hop happenings around them, and they can then start building themselves up a voice within the space, so they can do interviews. And they catch it up, maybe they could be doing something similar to what you are doing now, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was just about them having a reason to exist, because now it was becoming awkward, right? They would easily be dismissed as groupies.
Hey, bruh.
Yeah,
I
and
remember
every
those times.
patriarchy has
Yeah.
been a thing. So it's like, in order to start fighting against the narrative, let's give you something that's purposeful and
Yeah.
beyond, spending your money to attend shows.
Yeah.
Let's make sure you guys play a role of your own, and that's how that got going. And I helped them
Bless
set
you
up
for
that
that,
too, and
because
that's
oh
how it's
my God,
going.
I loved La Sisters in Rap. It was a great those,
When
especially for
I,
them. I loved it for them because I didn't see anyone in the game at that time who could have done it
yeah,
better. Because at the end of the day, if a show at that time I get Monique, I get Elo, something's
I
wrong.
mean, they were they
Uh,
were they were literally in every
yeah,
show, at every time.
yeah.
So I was like, yeah, let's make it important, man. And I'd help them write, and I'd help edit where to Ezo stories are, or if they took pictures. And so I set up the blog for them. I remember the blog post, the free website. I did that for them, and then helped them get it going for a while. And I showed them how to do it, and then I said, fly, and that was that, and that was that. Yeah.
And another thing I love about that idea and your involvement is that you never went shouting about it. I
Yeah,
think
it was
I
for them
know
to
it.
own, you know.
I think I know
Uh,
it because I was very close to you at the time. So most
yeah,
of it, that you were involved in, I knew. So
yeah. I think
uh,
my thing was to never. It was never about you. And I think
glorify
everything
your
that I've tried
manners.
to do in the game, it was never. I'm never interested in taking center stage in stuff that I'm as meant to empower others. And I know when it's mine, and I know when it's for someone else or others who will benefit strongly from it. And when I do help enable Londoleo, it's important for me to give them the room to own. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Ingabi yonto
yeah.
yami, ingabi bangabizo Charlie's Angels, Charlie sitting here. But do you get what I
Good
mean?
morning,
So
Charlie.
exactly. For me, the critical thing is to say, I believe this is gonna be dope for you, and I can help get you going, get it going, and then go on and flourish and be great. Now I don't need to claim your greatness out of that today. And I
Mm,
think even when we're talking in the comments about this thing, the city, role hip hop significant because it's never been
mhm,
about me. And in the projects that I've spearheaded, I've made sure that I bring people around them that can impact it greater than I can, even
mm,
sitting at least in the machine. And the creative database was like another one of those examples
mm.
where it was, hey, I noticed something, did something about it. When it got bigger than me, I brought people in on it and said, Machita Masispani. Yeah, and
Mm.
that's how it came, all of these things. Yeah.
Now, talking about a creative database, let's get into that because uh, I think, woo,
It's a
in fact,
it's a funny story, right? Because
yeah,
it's
tell me about it.
it's funny how it was started because it was so organic, and I think that's what I appreciate about some of these things that I can come up with. It's always coming from an organic point of view, and
Okay.
that's why it stays pure. And I'm gonna use the word pure here because I think that's what it for me it represents, right? It stayed pure, and it did what it needed to do and had its
Mm.
positive impact, and couldn't live beyond what
Should
it
have.
could live for. It should, I mean, it could have lasted longer, but it
Mm.
needed people to carry it over.
Yeah.
So this is now 2013. Yeah, 2013, right? It's just fun. I'm bored. All I'm doing with my time is on Facebook and watching people debate about hip hop all the time. And Head Roma's here now. Unity Crew is a thing. He hasn't been. So the name you created database was for something else because it started color in the advertising industry. And the first thing you notice is the lack of black creatives within the advertising industry. And I'm thinking, why can't we bring other black people like myself into the world of advertising? And to us now access to these creatives as us. So I create what I call the creative database, literally, which is going to be me looking for people, abani ideas that I can introduce them to this world. But it's a far more ambitious thing, London. But at the same time, who says like London Land, who Facebook, and I start this thing called the Beatmakers Challenge, right? What I do is I don't just impact like hip hop positively as opposed to the fights that are happening in the head warmers page. And so on the Unity Crew thing, I say, man, how about I start taking some old school songs and give them to producers, samplish and make new beats and battle those beats against each other, right? Friendly, let's make something that we can consume content-wise with each other. And I remember, which was it was a Pavarotti song, which was the first one, and only two people took me up on this. It was Uluzuko, Black Scientist, and I think Kawe. Unucha was the third one who never had submitted anything for that particular first one. And I said, we're going to make it a weekly challenge, right? We start getting beat makers to make beats, and weekly I'm sending songs. And this thing starts going exponential and viral. Right? Within the third week, we have Abo Pizzo sending it beats, we have Abo Nuche sending it beats, we have Abo Ildre, we have cats from TE, we have cats from Devon. At some point, we're getting beats from Botswana. Because social media is nice because you can expand. Everyone, Bitology, they are talking about it. Even cats that feel like I'm too big for this shit because they can claim that too. No, but it's within their rights, right? When you know that you're not an upcoming producer, so you don't need to be challenged for a thing. But they are there talking about it and they're listening to the beats. I remember Bitology was like, I'm not going to participate, but I like this shit. Tesman didn't make beats, but he said, I like this stuff. You know what I mean? And I was glad to see everyone participating. And now we have all these beats about, 16 original songs that I've sent out. And for each song, there's at least 5 to 10 beats that are being submitted on a weekly basis. The HB from Exposer, all of these cats are busy sending beats from left, right, and center. And the natural progression from that point is that, well, we've got beats, let's make songs. Because there's rappers in the setup, in the group, everyone is here. There's people with studios. So, Unuche uvula studio sakhe, Upizzo uvula studio sakhe, Principals uvula studio sakhe, Chesben now uvula studio sakhe, Okawe bavula studio sabo. They say cats come record Nazi beats. And now songs are being made. You see, it becomes a natural progression. We don't know about and what could happen with it. And we start making songs, and we can see that this is a thing that's bubbling. What can we do with it? What other opportunities can we explore? Now this is early in the year, right? 2013. I've got the theater background, right? I've worked at the Baxter Theater. I was trained to do lights and sound and stage management by the Baxter Theater. I know the people about Hayana since. And the interest from everyone, because it is so concurrently, just to track back, njengoba kuvutha indaba ku-Head Warmers Facebook group, kukenye kuthiwa theatre in the communities, don't kaThamimbongo igroup nayo, it's literally the Head Warmers, actors ne-directors of theatre. So the exister in both spaces. So then Kululu connected. Now there's this build up to Izabalaza Festival. Izabalaza was initially called Ikwezi Festival in the early 2000s. And I used to be a part of Ikwezi Festival. That's when I got trained. Ikwezi, when it was Yasarana Tena, no Itumelengwa Lewulere, no Timi Kwebulana. All actors, And then they take over ngoThabibongo no Zanele, uZoleka no the actor dude ngokule athi bikuskandal ubongile Manzai, they take it over. And they're more my peers within the theater space. And so when we start talking about the fact that Ibazarana 8 tours is Lokshi, because the setup is Abalaza Festival is that playwriters submit plays, they go and assist them and they develop, and then when they select, they have a short list of plays that they're going to participate in the festival. Format here, now they take them to township tour where if plays are young as a performance at center, we select finalists from Payan, at Delft, Dryfontein, Strand, all the way to Emma Pantley, lapha kwaselento kwaseWorcester wethu eRobertson zonke now. And so my understanding of La format, it's similar to what we're trying to achieve with these songs. And we made beats and we made all these songs. Not all of these songs are gonna album. Not all of these songs are gonna make the album. So let's have a selection thing. So let's piggyback off what is already happening. Bongo, I man, and Tambongo like let's select ukwenza musicals, DSO. Une interest in hip hop now. Sikal is a city norm. Let's join in. Let's have in between plays, let's put in performances. Okay. And then we can find the solution. We select the final winners musically, and then we can see how we can connect with the program. Yes, Abalaza Festival. Do you get what I mean?
For the winners.
For the winners, for the selected songs, then we can see and now part of we do the first one, the energy is dope, right? The Naked Mind, Reverend Click, group, but it's a couple of them. No, not the Black Scientist, but the group. And then then it's nice. The theater people love the hip hop thing. Connect. And we get to an understanding about amphitheater bags that no one is using. It's a space outside that we did those shows in, right? City, let's start hosting shows. Now, even the battles things, we color organically because it's a Zolan center. Ulapa, Wanda, Ulapa. Yes, they go that old school, it just happens. But he shushu kama nje masiye again. No. Let's continue it in the bigger event. It's the energy, it's organic. So siqale sithi kwezibhalo look how Wanda mosi. So then the team that forms around the creative database, him umuntu initiate Unuche is very close to me very early on because what we did. Wanda where's the head Omas? Simpson there's Nick Makita, he's a hip hop scholar. He has been but there's always a dude that followed hip hop. We used to manage some cases. So Nick Makita now comes in and no Madira. And you wonder how I'm trying to do it. It's diversifying. DSO sends the M4M records.
Yes.
So I'm bringing people from different corners to say, let's do this thing.
Hold on. Let me confirm something quick before you carry on. You approached Utamimbongo, not Utamimbongo approached you.
It was
so clarify that for me, quick.
Yenzeka the way on social media. Because Utamimbongo can see what we're doing and I know what he's doing. So we are talking all the time because we're people that are always been talking. And I say, how about? Because he says there's an opportunity within the program to introduce something. Because Utamimbongo is always wanted to make his Abalaza Festival to be bigger than just a theater, the acting. As a director of that program. So he has intentions of introducing poetry. So again, concurrently, Jamas introduced a creative database. On the poetry side, we introduced Lingua Franca, which is the poetry thing.
I remember.
Now you at the same time. Yeah, so there's a poetry inclusion, there's a hip hop inclusion, but Ranega is concurrently saying, Mamela, so Isabalazamos is funded by Western Cape government and whatever else sponsors them. It sponsors the theatre component only because that's what they approach. But kuthiwa Mamela singagcuza mali. Because xa kufika imoto esispace siyakwazi ukufaka abanye abantu uba kuhanjwe kuyophefona.
Yeah. So the conversation is Duzan Ninabe hip hop.
There's an existing platform. What can we incorporate?
Okay.
We've got a format of doing Lendo Samuyenza which emanated from something we're doing on Facebook. It feels like it's similar to the competition style here theater. So we can incorporate something similar. In a similar vein with the hip hop thing, they were looking for poets to perform at the final event.
Okay. So go again. Now you have Unik, you have Wanda, you have Unucha, you have yourself. Madira.
Okay. So that's us as the main team that's busy doing the organizing of the hip hop logistics of this stuff. Which acts are we trying to pull? Where we're getting them, and the opportunity to do the open mic sessions at the back. And there's an insistence from us. Number one, it's outside. The format is different, right? And we take a conscious decision. We're not trying to get inside the theater. We're trying to do the outside thing so that it doesn't land. It doesn't feel like we are doing a copy and paste of someone else's formula. And then the second conscious decision that we're taking is that Hip Hop Islam has taken a strong stance in saying this is a puzzle platform. And that's good and well. We're a hip hop thing in its entirety. We're trying to affect different markets within the hip hop culture. That's why we're very quick to even introduce, the cats from Ocean View, the colored boys into it to say, Elemento. I remember a couple of these groups from the time, Rosano. Rosano was DJing in our first Playway session because we're trying to make it a hip hop thing. And the battle happens organically because the battles are becoming a thing. Koreanda busy, the Cape Coast Ilando division of the other battle league. Ilanga rise up, but busy, by a patrician nabo lava kwalanga.
Scramble for Money was it?
Scramble for Money was the one Koreanda was a part of. And then Kuko Nabalanga says we're going to be a battle at some point.
Yeah.
No Vegeta. Yonke loo nto leyo. And so nathi wela sonke sibukele battles ngela xesha, sonke sibukele disaster ebhatlisha on TV, on YouTube. So battles is a thing and everyone is fascinated by it. And who wonder wants to battle how they decide they're going to battle. So how the battles thing starts becoming a sport is that people are putting money. I remember Mateo, Ulutano Mateo.
Yeah.
He was the first one to say, "Aman, 1,000. The winner is gonna get this money." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And every battle since then, there's always been people saying, "Play battles are fundamentally who contribute money from the community."
Yeah.
To create the prize money. Yeah, but there was a time. This is now a year later, 2014, where we tried to approach potential sponsors for Battle, and that backfired because there was a whole BlackBerry story, if you remember it, where there was a BlackBerry story. This song was written for me by Ago, may his soul rest in peace.
Yeah.
He battled in one of our battles and he won. And part of the prize was, so there was a cash voucher from a BlackBerry, but he misinterpreted as a mouse of on a phone. But in a low cash voucher, that boy is a China who ex the Green Panther, so he used to be the ambassador at BlackBerry campus in. So he said he could organize some vouchers and some things through BlackBerry. And I'd gotten now no Boza or MK at the time. About that could contribute something that's tangible. We don't know winner. While we in some of these things, even the money that was placed on, but the BlackBerry thing fell through. Akwafika nto kwabe kukho ii-banners zeBlackberry phaa like yho kwathiwa ifowuni fondini. Yeah, but that was that.
So zange niphele nimnika akho into zakhe zaka-BlackBerry.
Because zange zifumaneke zasizifumane nathi yabo. Even the person who was meant to provide them lona who had promised them X naye it was beyond his control and we couldn't do anything about it. He couldn't do anything about it. And so the ripple effect became that. I was happy to take the blame on Volunteer because now but to go back to because I digress, we did the tour with Izabalaza because they were doing the tour anyway. And then we did those shows Ilando at the amphitheater. They were so popular because similarly to what they did, I think they did the same for you because I don't know. Was it better or is it a deal local buses? So we could get buses.
Yes, they did.
As a bus, sifake ibhasi elokishini sasifake eKhayelitsha sifake eGugulethu sifake eDelft sifake eSikhuleni sizisa abantu bazobukela i-hip hop yayi-free eza sessions because they were outside. No one was paying for anything. People would just come and watch. And then we started installing a battle that they would do beat battles and rap battles and performances in between, and specifically showing interest to the artists that have made songs to be featured in the mixtape. When we made our final selection of songs, it was 14 tracks. We then needed to launch that project. That's what would become part of the main festival as Zabalaza. So now if Zabalaza runs for a week, it would launch on a Saturday and end on a Saturday. And so on the Friday nights, there would be the hip hop event and the poetry event. What we could do on the last was that we would have access to a concert hall, which is the only music stage inside the theater, which is where hip hop was also happening. We got access to the very same stage, and we designed a production because the advantage in campus now is that theater background, and it's a festival that is being curated by everyone, so everyone contributes ideas. That's the stage, biggest stage up. Actually, if you will up a concert hall, you can perform from Pezulu, where there's Dexter, you could do this. We designed, one of those summer awards.
That was dope.
Fucking amazing shit.
Dope.
And it's literally taking what's there and making and purposing it, because there's rooms when you go at the back where you can see stages that were built for different things, sitting there doing nothing. To design an entire setup. And so we said we wanted to end this run of Ileway in that grandest way possible and design that show the transitions. So there was no host. It was performances. So we designed the production of that nature and hence would perform. And that's the first time where we could sell tickets for that show.
So talking about the part of no hosts, I remember there was it might be, but there was an artist introduced Landelayo on music perform, and then it was I introduced Landelayo, and someone did not do it because it so happened by and the introduction did not happen. Or performer would do it. And it was Muntu at DSO. They performed at DSO. And everyone is like,
I'm trying to remember if Ubuntu made a song for our project.
I don't know.
DSO didn't make a song.
It may have not been them. It was another group. I stand to be corrected because it was a long time ago. I stand to be corrected, but there was
I mean, nothing is impossible, even because it's hip hop at the end of the day. But it was, for us, I think what was nice is that it was such and it's similar. It's a similar story. And it's such a community thing. Like we taught together. We hung out. I remember at some point, because you all power bahlala eDanone, one movement. So we shall one movement eDanone on random Sundays. So renowned actors and actresses.
Yeah.
Creating it, and we're introducing new cats or Criminio. No one knew Criminio. Criminio, it's all from a pagoot, but it was actually nice. We opened it up. Really, really cool energy. It's 300 years, Makateni, everyone was always contributing to the energy. And
that's when the may his soul rest in peace. Mention about Ikamba comes out to the podcast all the time, but he's the legend. He's one of the OGs. That's when he came. The men of peace or so no peace. And he came between me and Pizzo. Was figure our face was it Pizzo and he just looked at me, didn't say anything.
I think it's also like, and I could never claim this to be our success, but it's not, because it can never be. But I think the game started to respect them a lot more. Because they were always seen as mambo rappers. No one was hearing exactly what they're saying. And we were not bothered by lyrical prowess. It was about energy. And when you really get out of that, I remember some resident called the cops. I think I'm a police as well. Essentially, there's like 5 vans. I figure, and this business park up a prison. You see vans, but Zapumi Braz, Zama Paz, Bukela. And I remember running up to them to say, yo, Mamela Maplazi, if you don't understand, because I'm always like, yo, low up.
Yeah.
But they were like, man, I'm a Polo. And they sat there and they enjoyed the entire thing. Beautiful stuff.
Now let's come back to the theater. Yeah. You guys having ideas of Uti, because in the conversation, not dead, he mentioned Uti. He had also originally wanted to be creative with regards to the stage, and he didn't have access to that. And Okpaleni, you said, Nina, you did Ilanduza Yenu for free, right? And and in the same theater as the one that we did. Did you guys feel, Uguti, you should have a conversation, not that of some sort? Do you feel, Uguti, you didn't owe him any conversation or anything of that sort? Or do you? Also, can I give you the second question? Also, do you feel, Uguti, you had some sort of advantage, Nina, of getting every tool in anything to make his stage look amazing, to create what you guys created than that did?
So I think, I don't know what the conversation that Nep Dexter is. And I'm never going to know because I'm not part of it.
Yeah.
But I think you look at this in 2 ways, right? I think, and I'm going to say strong, I think, Hip Hop Kaslam comes in as an independent production. Now, productions can book the Dexter Theater to do their things. Sometimes they charge a fee. Sometimes there's a deal where they'll take a percentage of your earnings, and then you have access to the theater. Some part of that as an independent producer, you bring your own stage manager, you bring your own set builder, you bring your own. Yeah, but that is a deal that productions would have with the Dexter Theater. They would be commissioned by Dexter 30 Productions because they own them, right? A2A was different because it was Sagduza Festival. Do you understand? Izabalaza Festival is a program of the Dexter Theater, but it hustles for its own funding, but also the Dexter commits to Izabalaza, the theater. The building, what's in the building, you're going to be there.
Okay.
That's the Dexter's
commitment. So if udet wayekhathwa yi-Baxter in terms of izinto zokulanda kwi-stage, it was on the Baxter agreement with him.
And I'm quasi uthethelela i-Baxter because I don't know what they've committed to Hip Hop Kaslam and what they'd committed to that, and I never had a meeting in Olara 40, Umna, and I know her, Gombona, we've spoken a few times, but my chat was never with her to say, Mamela, this is what we're trying to bring and build Yongolondole. But through Izabalaza Festival, it's a program, I mean, I Katami now to direct it, to be the director, but Izabalaza Festival is owned by the Baxter.
Oh, okay.
It's a program of the Baxter. It's how they give back to the community.
Oh, okay.
It's a festival, it's a theater, so it's no different to Izwakala Festival, which happens here.
Okay, got it.
Where they go and find, either way, they get, it can be National Arts Council or the Western Cape government, for example, or Lotto to give money to run the program here theater. So the theater program, that's where the money was spent, because that's what the money was for. So they would hire professional actors and directors to go and train local community theater groups to develop plays. It was Cape Town and all the way up to Joburg and Northwest and so on and so forth. And in the workshop, their plays and make sure that they're of professional quality standard, because they were taking community theater, which was a segmented thing, and say, let's bring community theater to a professional stage. So part of the funding would say, let's go and develop and the likes, which to go and train as groups and develop their praise. It's very ready for as a tour. And then we select to the finalists, Ayana, your performer at the Baxter Theatre. They would pay for production from outside of Cape Town, Baba Patella accommodation, Zoba cooking transport, Zoba movies. So they will never be paid in cash, but they'll be resourced to make sure that they're able to attend the festival. Our hip hop thing didn't have access to those
packs, to all of that,
because the funding was for theater. But what we could have was what the Baxter gives, which is the space and anything that's around the space. And the decision for us to make a production, we was conscious from the fact that Utamune ambitions as a person to direct musicals, as he had already started doing it, and say, let's make this a production that, because it's for ECVIAC, it means that he could leave NOMSO, I direct him at FM Awards, he running as you see how it works for him, the personal ambition. But it was never a thing of, I don't know the extent of those. And you come.
But now, what about your door intakes when you started being a theater again? Because now you moved from.
We obviously did the one event, right? The launch thing, and how much do you charge? 25 plus 30 rand to enter. The whole thing was for us to say, split amongst the musicians, because at this entire time, Kwenziwe beats, Kwenziwe ngoma, studios are used, yonke lento, it's all been people giving. Because it's part of it was a community thing, which it was us doing these things for ourselves. So if there's ever going to be any money that emanates from this thing, it would go to, whoever. Part of the reason why I stopped doing hip-hop events very early in my life was learning from that very first event. Abantu will fill up the amphitheater to make it cool, because it was free. When people needed to pay, they didn't show up. And you would respect people in their pockets. But I realized it.
With Lendo Ichoyo, came a question, Yoguti, when again I was chatting with DAT. He was trying to introduce to Ispaza a market, because Lendo has been coming up, in fact, podcast since season 1 even. But I'm going to take it from upper season 2, since Ulanduka what was the guy now? I did Ilanduka Nai, the first episode. When he said his father was killed by Abandu Abaslandelayo not wanting to pay for Exactly. Because they were so used to getting izinto zespaza, even umculo we-artist espaza for free. So uDat now is saying he was introducing ukubhatala, the business side of things, kwi-market yespaza by introducing, because hip hop customer was not free. The awards ukungena kuzo were not free. Yeah, was not free.
The awards was the only thing engangena free kuyo hip hop customer. That's presenting our. No, we were presenting an award.
Yeah, you're presenting.
But I paid every other time.
Yeah, I know, me too. So, so now his argument is that if he's gonna start in the enjalo, introducing the market to paying for this thing, and then you guys come in, free. How is that not killing the movement?
We were outside, fully, remember? It was an outside event. You couldn't control crowds for an outside space of that nature. You know what I mean? And also, it was awareness. So our strategy was to always say, we are raising awareness towards that event where people are going to pay it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was, we're teasing. So number one, we are familiarizing people with the artists that we're trying to, push these songs with.
Yeah. Yeah.
The actual songs themselves, and the project it needed people to know of it. Awareness. Sometimes we have to give out stuff for free for people to be aware, and hopefully the product is strong enough that they're willing to pay for it. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
That in itself is a strategy. You're about to say, let's entice you, and then
so
when you buy it, you can pay. So it's it's not the only thing that is. So those are not the only two things that are running parallel to each other. And I think that's one thing that's critical in this conversation. The hip hop community at Kapangela Clash is vibrant. There are things happening all over the show. And it's not just us, the hip hop Kaslam, that are doing things, and we are seen as, standing toe to toe to each other. There's a lot of that. Tina says, Delela, we know that we are the new, and we're not trying to level up, but we try to do our thing to contribute to the culture. Number one. Number two, it's community driven, because the is on a Facebook page with members of that Facebook group. By part of this thing as a community, and the money was never. Money was very sensitive as a conversation, because people are contributing to this thing from different walks of life. And if there's going to be money involved, it's money that they must all have access to. So if I'm a beat maker sitting in Durban and I've made 3 beats, and now they're going to be part of this project, and now suddenly there's money somewhere in the mix, everyone has to stake a claim. You get what I'm trying to say? And it was never going to be enough to go and affect everyone in a positive way. Yeah, but
we didn't get to that part. You didn't really answer me, Yokuti. Do you feel Uguti, you guys as a database, what's it called?
Creative database, yeah.
Creative database.
It's a weird name, I know.
Do you feel Uguti, you owed DAT as hip hop custom in a conversation?
I think we could have all benefited from talking more.
Yeah.
Right? But it was never a thing of let's stick to our own.
Yeah.
Stick to your own.
Oh, I want to do one better.
And I don't remember us having competitive feelings towards hip hop custom. And I'm a fan of hip hop Islam, right? And I've never stopped attending hip hop. I've never bashed hip hop custom. Even at the time when people were talking shit about, hip hop Islam awards.
Two winners on the awards. No best female rap.
I was on stage. You introduced me when I introduced me Lolula Mamadi, still present award. So it was never a thing of us seeing ourselves as competitors, because you understand, and I learned this from business, right? Competition makes the industry grow. Competition, I mean, in the sense that when there's more of us, when we start realizing that there's room for all of us to do things around the same thing, it means that it's got room to grow, right? Do you notice how awuyi kwisitende simesodwa like ubukhalela inyama ehakho uye Philippi zifolile izitende zehakho zininzi phaa then uyokhetha esithanda phaa ubukhalela inyama enyongo awuyi kulaa mntu uyithengisa random legugu lethu uyayinyanga phaa erenkini eterminus etown 2 baba bahleli bonke bathengisa the same meat at the same price and they're all getting customers out of it. And I think that's something that we must realize as an industry. Is that when Ilanga Rise Up becomes popular, when these are who end in course down, that session is becoming popular, when Black Saturdays is becoming popular, when All in Wise is becoming popular, the sessions of Amlam are becoming popular, there's a jukebox sessions that are becoming popular, hip hop Kaslam, when all of these things are popping all at the same time and they have numbers, it means that the industry is vibrant. And there's variety for the consumer. And that's how it goes. No Mapiano artist is complaining today that you released a song a day after I released mine. No, everyone is just releasing and everyone is consuming.
And everyone is working with
culture
everyone.
Is growing. And we don't even have to work with each other. We can just exist and respect each other and we can all pop. And I think it's for lack of a better word, it's a bit selfish to expect a monopoly to exist in a cultural world. You know, no one owns hip hop. No one owns his brother. We can all do our bit and build different platforms that help prove that this product is strong enough for it to be respected by spaces. So kugcwale hip hop kaslam, kugcwale amphitheater database. We've been a lot of food now is like fuck, there's two separate products. In fact, it's not even the only one. Who call in yes, I go Jits finger. But they used to do like a hip hop musical thing now, but that's escape. Or Jits finger and don't but now, as colored rappers, they used to do a thing. And I didn't see him say, oh, Jits fingers, they were stepping on our toes.
Yeah.
Because it does not about toes, you know what I mean? Africaps.
Africaps, I remember them. Exactly. Did you pay artists to perform?
No, because we never made money. And we're never trying to make money. You know what I mean? So now we're saying we're making beats, and then we made songs, and then we made an album, and then we had to launch the album.
It's alleged, but you can't imagine via a creative database doors.
And that's the confusion. That was the confusion I think that we needed to clarify coming into this conversation. There was never any funding for the creative. And I remember when we did this thing in 2013. No, let's give it a shot. Let's try it out. And then after a festival, that's really no one talks about this thing. Like all time by your resta, because I mean obviously no do you understand that they start working I think they start working in the September.
Before it
to the festival all the way till March, end of March. And so after that they take a break and the the actor for actors. Then March to September to receive the program. Now Yakumbula Simane City. So we've tried it, we've seen that it's successful. Let's have a meeting Yamachita to say how do we make sure, and the frustration is coming from us as a creative database and Ilunga Franca, the poetry. And luckily, the is Ilunga Franca, no longer understand and the city, let's have a meeting. So that sends funding applications for the next festival, 2014, so that we can be part of the proposal. Then we can have the money that we can say, we've unlocked part of the budget is dedicated to as programs. eyayenzeki le ncoko, right?
Yep.
So I emceed. I used to MC Mascala Clash. So I
Yeah.
emceed the tours as a balaza. I wasn't getting paid, not a single cent as an MC.
Is it?
I emceed even the awards, these Zabalaza Festival Awards. I emceed them. I wasn't getting paid.
I don't know why I'm surprised. I wasn't getting paid either.
Yeah, nothing in Jesus. Tell me Jesus. I said, thank you for our contribution. That's the part I'm from. Jesus but I signed up knowing about
Yeah.
and Kalazi, but that's how much money. There's no money. So building up to 2014, I remember we tried to do the same thing in 2014, but not as successful. We couldn't get an album out, and so what I did, we conceptualized a different thing. There's different movements.
Yeah.
As a hip hop, as choir. Let's give them the stages we've unlocked to curate. So with the amphitheater space, we had almost did a session here as a show. That's what we had almost said,
Yeah.
in the Kosi,
No,
Netimia,
sabe.
City, but curate the way Bafaka Ikets Zabo from as artists Zabo
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah. We know.
And we give different people to take over different days of as an activation. And I'm doing busy, I'm on set and shooting now. Down there like I don't have time. I'm not even staying at home. I'm booked to play project. I'm a hotel, waterfront, living soft. The Puma on the day Bakuzabaku show the events. We create an event for the Saturday. None of that shit was working out because we're not motivated, Matt. Because we are frustrated with Otami, with the fact that they didn't bring us in to fundraise to do this thing properly. So again, so since we pay us on that and that in the 2014, that's when
So basically,
we stepped out.
nitheni naxa niqalisa uthetha ngemali nabekelwe ecaleni?
No, I think I think so.
Yeah.
Actually, I think because our conversation was let's raise money for because we know, but you guys are here for the theater aspect of it. Right? Lima Franca is there for the poetry aspect of it. Their poets want to get paid. Their band that plays for them needs to get paid. Now, we want to build a sustainable program where the artists they can get paid. And we eventually see if that's not going to work, we take a step back. Or Pizzo, that's when Pizzo no time starts getting close. And if you remember, I stopped even emceeing. Umandis was over MC when I stopped emceeing. Umandis wasn't involved Umandis was one of the members of the Zabalaza crew within the theater space. But he will take over duties of emceeing and he starting to do the hip hop stuff. Nabo Pizzo. What was it? Nabo Pizzo. Nobuntu. Yeah, because the 2014 is when we introduced the Cape Town Underground Music Festival, which was a whole new thing that we're trying to do. Lena says 5 days, 5 genres. We're doing hip hop, we did rock, we did EDM, we did reggae, we did 5 different genres, 5 different venues, Kapa on 5 different nights. And we're so broke in the end because it cost you. That's so the scene.
So, in your humble opinion, Saya, what happened to Spaza?
I think people got frustrated, right? Naturally so. I think, and it's not. It's a Cape Town entertainment industry issue. I think it's bigger than Spaza to even comprehend. I think we've got youthful energy that we use to drive izinto that we are passionate about, our music, our lyrics, and whatever. But as time goes by, we start getting grown, right? We start getting responsible. Life becomes a bit twisted. We get frustrated because the light defeat. Exactly. The expectations they become greater. And the industry is not growing to the level that it needs. We needed to grow at
financially.
That it can pay us. People, the fans, are relentless in their pursuit to not pay for shit. The Cape Town Grand Festival on our hip hop day. See, what used to be Purple Turtle, that was Imperial, a long street. We're doing a hip hop event zigcwele phandle ingqawa.
Yo.
People fans
Ngaphakathi ku-AMD.
eliphandle. Ngaphakathi, we've got DJs that we promised, and we promised people. We paid everyone.
Oh my God.
After the event, we were selling things. The ICT as the credit database, plus the 3 media group. Says Ashanti, a couple of people say nabo enye ihlala beJoburg nayo wena khona no Sean yabona uSean uT-shirt DJ le naye was also a part of it. We are selling. I remember I sold 2 phones and a tablet.
Oh my goodness.
And then because it's namatyala,
yo,
we had to pay people because we booked artists under the premise of assembly. Assembly is a solid rock venue.
Yeah.
We booked top rock acts laseKapa. Kwaku-empty. The performers all the band. The perform. We're not even listening to rock layer. And I remember we had DM90.
So it's not even.
I'm telling you,
it's not even the spaza mic.
It's not a hip hop thing. I think Gela Klaesha, local productions were struggling, unless you had stronger influence than we had. I don't think we had enough of an influence to affect the audience. Okay. We thought we could rely on the artists and MCs to be the draw cards, but no one was being drawn. So I think this was a frustration that led to it not surviving. Number one. Number two, I think the face of the fan changed, and we didn't change with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When these kids started listening to music, the old guard, yes, that didn't transition. So when Amilcar Maserati Kwalanga start gaining an audience that's willing to pay, UCT kids, and all of these things, the Spaza Cats are not transitioning to reach the audience that's opening its wallet. And so the content, Lena Espaza. I mean, no one at the time, I don't think people are truly interested in, sometimes it's sad stories. Because, hey, and so I think in boom pep and trap, where when the trap generation was taken, because trap generation brought money. And so when even the venues is Kalubuma, Irans, or all of them, they don't want to book abantu said. They want the club bangers, and then the club bangership is not respected much by Gela Klesha, by the Spaza community, because you get what I mean. It is not the fault of the Spaza Cat, because the Spaza artists are trying to stay true to their identity, social messaging and impact. Love listening to My Substance, love listening to all of these people. But we are backyard sometimes. I hlonishwa kakhulu when they do the vibe stuff. But Phoenix, they tasted it. They tasted La Market of Phoenix when they started allowing themselves, all the way. They started when they started embracing that trap side of it. They could start seeing how they could flourish. But I think there's a difference. This is my opinion, humbly. Frustrations.
It's time
to frustration. When you're frustrated in life and you have serious issues that you're dealing with, but you must make music to make people happy, but you are not happy. It shows in the music.
It's like being a radio person.
Exactly. But you are trying to be happy. And I started seeing you cats making vibe music while they were not in the vibe, while they were not in the mood. And they would talk about things that their personal lives cannot relate to. I think they didn't understand how to organically live the lifestyle that they needed to appeal to. You know what I mean? Because asking about to turn up, they're like, I see, understand the lifestyle of jive. But now we want to talk about, that's not your life, bro.
Yeah.
You're not popping bottles, man. You know what I mean? That's not your reality. So it doesn't connect with that audience because you're not used to where some cats who want that. Even when WHP was depressed, He was trying to make vibe music, but his music was not connecting with him because he was not in a vibe state of mind.
Yeah.
And so I think with these that happened as well, where they felt the pressure to now be vibey, to catch up with the fans, but it wasn't connecting.
It was
now
not
these kids are there. I don't think Spaza is dead also, because you've got these kids now taking it over.
Yeah.
Bravo Leroux, Baraka was
Bravo, yeah.
Or what is this?
Alpha.
Holy Alpha is called as light. But rapper is Tosa, which is the essence of what is but their content is now understands their audience. That's why they don't necessarily rap in serious, or they don't use heavy lyrics.
Yeah.
And they understand that Ngomoku is the feel of the song that attracts people more than the words sometimes. So it's the flow, it's the beat, it's the vibe.
Yeah.
And now they understand their audience.
But do you think that Ispaza has a chance to be revived again?
I think Ispaza is not dead. Let me just emphasize that point again.
Okay.
I think we must embrace change.
Okay.
And we can't Spaza the way we Spaza
before. Okay.
We must Spaza in a way that
we must Spaza differently now.
Because the people that we're trying to connect with do not feel the same way we used to feel in our age. So you can choose to Spaza like before, and your music is going to appeal to other adults. You know, and you can make it appealing to people that have now taken responsibility. We are in our 30s and abanye bana 40.
Hey dude,
and there's no way. So Ikwaito couldn't Kwaito the same way it used to Kwaito. But Kwaito's now in our piano format and it thrives.
Yeah.
I think in now this puzzle is in corner. These kids are doing it, even though I'm busy. This puzzle. And what was nice is the fact that he ringazi was this puzzle, but it was a ringers now.
Yeah.
So we could always call it different things, but it was always the same thing. So we are a chef. There is puzzle for everyone's experience. As kids are out here consuming it, it's the same product. But the mistake that we will make as the old guard is wanting to dictate the formula of what defines as puzzle, and then using it to judge kids that are doing it today. Till now, we're not in charge anymore. That's what we must accept. These kids own the market, they own the music, they know how to make their people move. Till now, we must move along with them or move out.
With that being said, I have so many other questions to ask, but I can't because, oh my God, I'm already like, full So I need to ask you this last question of your top 5 favorite Spaza cats that you'd love to hear in one track. Go to your archives.
Do you know how many times I've tried? There's a post that I wrote. I used to tag these cats. The city. Imagine if like this one time. I wanted Phoenix, El Nino. I was like, make a song, you know.
Jeez, Phoenix, El Nino.
Exactly. Yeah, and especially the like Aisha.
Yeah.
I mean, I stand solo, put him in a song, you know, Freeman. You know, exactly. So I think one of my favorite people, and I'm moving away because I'm doing, but there's 5 collaborations.
Give me 5. Only 5
collaborations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like Gongo. I think we must mix people together so we can experience each other.
Yeah.
I think Redondo.
Okay.
Sound really interesting to me in the song. Say Redondo Bravo. Yeah,
Redondo Bravo.
This is gonna be the most cliche one, and Kanye's gonna hate me for it. But I want Kanye on the song with Holy
Kanye. Yeah, Kanye and Holy Alpha.
What? And she was like, "Yeah, my husband, we got
one more.
Cool. one more.
Do you see OGs and youngings? Nice. We just said this yeah.
Energy. That is
salty. Yeah.
You know.
Jana kitchen.
Ah,
5.
Alpacino. Kalogo ndithi uyadibanisa kalogo. Kama ndidibanise. Saltino, Alpacino, naleya sedanuni. Ulento. Leya sedanuni man. Leya rapper no invisible virus.
Rough Cat.
Rough Cat. I think they're cool.
Oh. Manez, we have so much to cover still. Like, this is not enough. When are you coming down? When are you coming back to Cape Town?
Yeah, guys, you're Sizovula size apha eJoburg sizovula amathuba for the rest of us to come through, man. So
that's awesome.
When Milani come to Joburg and let's operate.
Dude, listen, thank you so much for coming through. Thank you for talking to me. Always a pleasure, obvious, talking to you. We have so many things to cover. It was like inbox again. But yeah, thank you so much. But we have to wrap it up. We'll speak again. Yeah. I don't know when. I'll be available.
I'm around if you ever want to chat again. I'm happy to chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Guys, Manez, as I call him. I'll see you on the flip side. Bye.
Mucho.
So wait. I don't know how to thing it again.
Yeah, no, we don't know.
You ended. Oh, save. Save. Oh, save.
No, it's ending the broadcast on YouTube.
Jeez. But I thought but the information, love it.